Hello, this is Whatcast and I'm Matt. So Flat Earth Dave is still at it. He's doing the exact same things. Now, I spoke to this guy a few years ago when he came onto my podcast and I didn't really have much of a clue either. And he inadvertently put me on this path because I just knew that he was talking shit. Because he couldn't answer some basic questions of the slight bit of research that I'd done at the time. But he's still doing this same thing. He picks podcasts that he assumes people haven't done research. He even asked me before my recording with him, please don't research this. Like he said that when we'd done a pre-meeting thing. And I already had for a little while because I'd been arguing with a few flat earthers for a bit, but I didn't really know that much about the topic. We were just covering all different random conspiracies and strange things, and flat earth came up, and I tried to get a flat earther onto the podcast, and they were nothing but rude and just the worst people. I had people that wanted to talk about all sorts of things on the podcast, but a flat earther, they just met you with abuse. The minute you said to them, do you want to come and talk about this on a podcast? I ain't got time for you. And like, do your own research and all this crap. So I reached out to Mark Sargent and people like that, and they wouldn't come on. And eventually Flat Earth Dave reached out to me, and he came on. In the course of the conversation, how uncomfortable he got when I was like drilling down on certain things that he just couldn't answer just convinced me that he was just lying. And he's still going around doing the exact same thing, picking out these podcasts that he knows won't really be able to rebut, much like myself back in the day, much of what he's saying, even if they attempt to, because they've got basic knowledge. And of course, the flat earth position is the only reason you believe that is because you was indoctrinated into believing that. You've never thought about it. But most people just haven't thought about it. But anyway, point being, this is the XRay Podcast, apparently. I don't know them. But he's on there and he's spouting his same old stuff that he's been saying for years. The final experiment doesn't seem to have stopped Dave's bullshit. So let's see what's going on with these guys and whether they're going to fall for this. I probably won't be able to get through it all today. It's about an hour and 18 minutes. I've sped it up a bit. But I've prepped a couple of rebuttals that they couldn't rebut. But I haven't watched that much. So it might overrun to what I haven't actually watched yet. Probably will. Let's check it out.
So let me just show you and just make it a little easier for you to understand. Here we have a flat earth map. I got a magnet here. That's the magnetic North Pole. I got a compass and the needle's pointing towards the north. Now west is this way. But as I go, the compass keeps turning. So I have to keep turning to the right to maintain a heading of 270. And I end up right back where I started from. And so that's west. That's the same on a flat earth. It's the same on a globe earth. If I want to head east.
Well, not really, though, is it? Because as you always say when you talk about your nonsense about flights, oh, why do they not keep dipping the nose? Why are they not correcting for curvature? Why are they not constantly turning left or constantly turning right? Oh, it's so slight that they don't notice. Oh, is it? But with the curvature, they would be doing this, wouldn't they? Yeah. So believes, well, Dave doesn't believe that, but he knows his idiot followers will believe that, and that's good enough for them.
East, look at the compass. It's pointing to the north. East is a circle around the center point. It's the same on a globe. It's the same on a flat. It's not exclusive to either. Now, if I dead reckon west, so there's west. I'm going to line that stick up with west.
Correct.
And as soon as I start going, if I don't turn to the right, I'm heading south. South is every direction away from the center. So south will bring me over here. I'm not going to end up going from Chile and pop up in Australia. On a globe, I should, right? Yeah. So here, I'm going to go south. Now, south would be this way, right? Correct. Nobody has ever gone south and popped up on the other side of the world.
Nobody's ever done that. Quick Google search. Has anybody ever done that? Yes! There have been expeditions that have successfully circumnavigated the globe via the South Pole, including the Transglobe expedition led by Ranulph Fiennes. This expedition aimed to traverse both polar ice caps, navigating the oceans and crossing land masses of surface travel. The Transglobe expedition was a 3-year mission that started and ended in Greenwich. Another example is Captain Elgin Long solo flight around the world over both poles, including crossing Antarctica. And then there's more down there. All you have to do is Google this stuff. And then the flat earthers' rebuttal to this will be, well, that's what they told you, but it's not true. Well, that's what he told you. Like, I always struggle with differentiating with flat earth, what they accept when it suits them and what they don't accept. It's like Dave says it, so it's true. Everyone else says Dave's wrong, but that's a lie. But Dave's telling the truth. Anyway, back to Dave. Let's see what other drivel that he's got today.
Good on a globe. East and west are circled.
Yep,
right now, every straight line is south. I'm heading north here. I'm heading north. Look, the compass just did a 180, and now I continue that straight line. I'm heading south. Every straight line goes south. So what you just told me could better be argued that the Earth is flat because he's sailing on flat water. The large bodies of water need containment. The flat Earth contains those waters. You know that Antarctica is the highest land on Earth?
Oh my God. It's just, I don't know how. I know he has to say all this stuff over and over again, but the repetitiveness, it's line after line, the same script for how many years now, just to sell this fucking app that's been massively debunked by literally anyone that's ever even bothered looking at it properly.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Yes.
Right. So it's the shoreline of our world pond, and your guy is just sailing around the pond, and you're claiming that proves it's a globe? That's not.
Yeah, but he would be turning like that, wouldn't he? Oh, but he wouldn't notice it was such a slight turn. Oh, but you dip the nose and you would totally notice. Like, be consistent.
I mean, that's one of the reasons
that I just explained to you that doesn't prove either. I'll give you.
This is what fucks me off again about him. He's like, he talks over people. Like, this guy's trying to be polite. He's probably thinking Dave's quite well known. This would do the podcast some good. That's how I felt. Everyone's heard of this guy. I'll get some views and some traction here from having him on. I don't want to be too disrespectful. I would be now, but I don't want to be too disrespectful because, you know, he's coming around. I didn't realise. I just thought he was a flat earther. I just thought he believed this. I didn't realise his whole stick was selling an app and just talking shit. And he probably did believe it at one point, but he definitely doesn't now. But Dave gets all aggressive if people try to speak, and he thinks that he's getting the better. He amps himself up. Yet when he gets spoke down to, like by Professor Dave, for instance, all of his stupid little fans, oh, it was so rude to Dave. Dave was so much patience. He was so respectful, and Professor Dave was a bully. Oh, it's the double standards wind me up.
I say it's impossible on a globe because, I mean, there's so many things that are possible on a globe, but
nothing's impossible on the globe.
You described to me better fits a flat Earth description. Do you have anything else?
Yes, another thing. Okay, so what about lunar eclipse?
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
So he's going to go into the Selenian eclipse, and he knows this guy would have never heard of it. So he's basically got his dick out in excitement.
Okay, I want to hear that one because I want to go to space after this one.
Yeah. So what is a lunar eclipse? Can you explain to me in your model what a lunar eclipse
basically, from my understanding, is here's the sun, here's the Earth, and the moon's right here, and the sun's light casts a shadow where the moon is, and it makes that sphere.
Oh, here's the sun.
Sphere.
Here's the sun. Yep. Here's the moon, and here's the Earth. Right?
No, it's the other way. The other way. The Earth is
Right.
blocking.
Hey, that was a test. I was testing to see if you're paying attention. Good job. Okay, so here's the sun. The moon. Is the eclipse started yet?
If
the eclipse in this configuration, has the eclipse started yet?
No.
See, has the eclipse started yet? Like, why has he got to talk down to people and then cry when people talk down to him? Because he's a fucking idiot. And when people show him that he's an idiot, he sulks and his little fanboys get all offended. But when he's talking down to other people, they'll love it. Oh, that's exactly how he should speak to stupid people because these globe heads ain't got a clue.
Okay, so now it goes down like this. Now the eclipse is about to start, right?
Correct. Yep.
Right, and the shadow would come in from the bottom, right?
That is correct. Yep.
Okay. So now I'm going to show you what's called.
Oh, I'm so excited. I'm going to show you this.
The Selenian eclipse. Did they teach you about that in school? Nope.
What a shock.
They did not. Right. So where is my eclipse? Selenian. So here's what I was just showing you. We got the moon, you got the sun, you got the Earth. The eclipse hasn't started yet. Your point of view from wherever you are, you're always on the top of the Earth. And so you're looking off your right shoulder is the sun, off your left shoulder is the full moon, and the eclipse hasn't started. Now, as the Earth gets more in alignment, the eclipse starts, and this is what you would expect to see. Right? That's what we're told. That's what we're told. Now, first thing you have to understand is shadows. Shadows dissipate over distance. Put a basketball on the ground at noon, and look, you'll have a dark shadow. You'll see the shadow of the basketball beautiful. Hold that shadow over the air like this. You won't even see the basketball shadow anymore. It completely diffuses. That's just like 10 feet in the air. Right?
Well, and that depends on how bright the light is, right?
Well, we're talking about sunlight. Well, here's the problem.
If we're talking about sunlight, wouldn't the shadow be bigger, and that's why it looks like it disappeared?
Here's the problem. Let's forget about the dissipation.
This guy's trying his hardest to refute Dave's stuff, and it's just a normal guy. Like, he's just a normal guy that's probably looked into this surface level and has got a few questions. The other guy's like really pro Dave. Obviously, but he knows he's not going to have looked at this because this is like flat Earth has only got a few things that they think is a gotcha, with certain people. Let's check out what Dave's going to say here. We all know what Dave's going to say here.
Okay.
This is called the Selenilian eclipse, where the viewer can see the sun above his horizon, the moon above
Correct.
his horizon, and the eclipse starts. And the last one they had, the shadow came in from the top. So
Correct.
this is what they saw. This is an actual picture of the eclipse. This is what you should have seen, because you're down here on the Earth.
Correct.
How did the shadow come in from the top? Do you know what scientists call the Selenilian eclipse? They
No,
call
what?
it. They call it the impossible upside down eclipse.
Yeah, the scientists all agree with you, Dave. That's what you're suggesting there. You know what the scientists call it? Because the scientists all know we're on a flat Earth. They're just pretending. Let's see why this potentially happened. Because once again, you know, you could just listen to Dave, because it does seem a bit weird. But then light does some weird things. We all know this. That's how Dave gets his ridiculous black swan oil rig thing with all the wavy lines everywhere and way above where they should be, because light does strange things. Here we go. Selenilian, I can't even say the word, also known as a horizontal eclipse, is a rare type of lunar eclipse where both the sun and the eclipsed moon are visible at the same time, appearing on opposite horizons. The phenomenon occurs due to atmospheric refraction. Oh, it's refraction, magic refraction. Due to atmospheric refraction, which bends light rays and makes objects appear higher in the sky than their actual position. So that's why you're seeing them both at the same time, right? This video shows it always around the horizon. They're never like there. They're never like both there. This video shows an example of a Selenilian. There you go. Eclipse viewed from whatever that says, mounds. There is a sunrise and a lunar eclipse are visible at the same time. So I'm not going to bother watching the video. So let's go on to why is the shadow at the top. During a lunar eclipse, the Earth's shadow appears at the top of the moon due to a combination of atmospheric refraction and the observer's position near the horizon. Because of atmospheric refraction, both the sun and the eclipsed moon appear higher in the sky than they actually are, allowing them to be visible simultaneously during the eclipse. And then if you go down, when the moon is eclipsed, the Earth's shadow appears on the side of the moon that is moving to the shadow first as it orbits Earth. If the moon is rising or setting, this can result in the shadow appearing on the top side of the moon as viewed by the observer. So again, with flat earthers, everything's apparent. So when you talk about 24-hour suns in Antarctica and whatever, that's just an apparent sun. That's just an apparent horizon. That's apparent. But with this, it is apparent, and they're just saying, oh, apparent, that's convenient, isn't it? Yeah. But that's the explanation. But the scientists don't agree. Apparently, this is a scientific thing. That's the scientific explanation. But the scientists also call this the impossible eclipse. So they also agree with Dave, if you listen to Dave.
You know why they call it that? Because they can't explain it. You know why they
But
can't
it does happen.
I just did explain it, and that came from scientists, that explanation. So what are you talking about?
This
Yeah.
happens, which
Yeah, it
proves,
does. Yep.
no, this happens, which 100% rules out the Earth as the cause of the eclipse.
Ooh, what is the reason then?
There's something else causing it. That's a longer podcast. That's a deeper thing.
Yeah, because you don't want to sound like a dickhead when you say the black sun, which is what you believe it is. There's something we can't see in the sky that's invisible, but it causes eclipses. It's the black sun. And people take that seriously. Flat earthers go, yeah, black sun, he's right, Dave, black sun.
On my app, in the eclipses section, let me show you. If you go to the frequently asked questions, which is the question mark.
Oh, look at my app. Just go to my app. It only costs you a few quid, few dollars. Just give me some money and check it out, and it'll tell you everything you need to know. Even though we've now seen from the final experiment that the sun doesn't go in that direction in the southern hemisphere, and it's also 24 hours in the north, in the south, in the southern summer and in the northern summer.
And you go to what about eclipses right here?
But he's not going to mention that. He never mentions the final experiment unless someone else brings it up. And then he goes, oh, yeah, they was fooled by lasers.
Eclipses,
Yeah.
There's tons of videos explaining how that works, explaining how when you have a sphere casting a shadow on another sphere, it doesn't come in as this beautiful curved smiley face all the way across. It comes in as a long ellipse. It spreads out, and then it leaves as an ellipse. So what we see on the moon, one, doesn't represent a sphere.
Now, that's what you've done in a bedroom with a stupid little light. Like, what are you talking about?
Casting a shadow on another sphere. Two, cannot be the Earth because the Earth is not in line with the sun and moon. When the eclipse starts, shadow comes in from the top.
But there's multiple eclipses. What I'm talking about is lunar eclipse. Where
That's a lunar eclipse. That is a lunar.
We do know well because the lunar eclipse is exactly when the Earth, and you can see it with a telescope. You can see when if you look through the telescope, it's it aligns with us being in the way, basically.
Explain to me how an observer here can see an eclipse when the Earth is not in between the sun and the moon. Explain to me how the shadow can come in from the top and not the bottom. The Earth is.
You know he can't because he hasn't looked it up. But I just told you how, and that's the scientific reason for it. Science doesn't agree with you, Dave. They don't think it's impossible. That might be a funny name that they call it because it's seemingly impossible. But light bends.
Is going in the line this way, the shadow should come from the bottom. It actually comes in from the top. You can't explain that. No scientist could explain it. That's why
I just read out the explanation. Why do people listen to this prick?
Call it the Impossible Eclipse. Your idea of what happens with the eclipse is incorrect. There are videos that show you other ways that the eclipse could happen. And it's not a shadow from the Earth. It's a darkened.
I would love to. I'm not going to pay for his app, but I'd love to see one of his videos of how that eclipse can happen that doesn't involve a ridiculous black sun that nobody can see. It's funny, that's a more reasonable explanation for Dave. An invisible black sun is the real reason, not some light bending a few degrees.
Of the moon, whether the moon is powering down or whatever, I couldn't tell you. But what I can rule out is the Earth as the cause.
Okay,
That's a good
No, you can't.
question.
Yeah.
That's a good explanation of the Siberian eclipse.
Yeah, here's the thing. By the way, Robert, I was you. I had everything you're going to tell me today. I had the same claims because that's what I was told. And then when people showed me the stuff, I had to really think about it. I'm just like, it's not the Earth. And people say, well, then what is it? You know what? I heard today that Julio stole the last cookie out of my cookie jar. Okay, I heard that today. Yeah. And Julio, where are you? I'm in Connecticut.
Oh, we're in Houston.
You're in Houston. So can you prove that you weren't in Connecticut today? Probably, right?
Yeah, you could prove it.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you didn't steal the cookie, then who did? Because until you tell me who did, yeah, I'm going to say it was you, because that's your argument. You're going to be like, until I can tell you what's causing that eclipse, even though I can prove it's not the Earth, you're going to still claim that.
You can't prove it's not the Earth. You didn't prove it's not the Earth. What is he talking about?
That's what's causing the eclipse.
Yeah. And see, the thing is, this is where I guess I'm a little different from most of the people that are, I'm not an ideologue, I will take all this in and I will do my investigation. But from what.
Just Google it. Just write it. You should have done this. People should do this to him while he's talking to him. Wait just a second. You said science can't explain that. Let me just Google it and see what their explanation for that is, because everything he says is not explained has an explanation, one way or another, right? Nobody's ever just thrown their hands up in the air about eclipses and said, we can't explain that, let's not talk about it.
What I've gathered so far, there's been so many people, and this is why, again, I bring up that I respect what you do, even though I don't agree.
That's right? Okay. We're going to go over point by point. I want to understand your arguments. I think I've successfully taken your first two arguments and showed you that they're not good arguments.
No.
And don't take that personally, because
no. Yeah.
Take that personally. I'm just very good at what I do. That's why they call me Flat Earth Dave.
Yeah, correct. But and there's like I said, I just seem that in the last 2,000 years ago, right? The contemporary thought process was that the Earth was flat, right?
Course,
that
yes.
was the establishment, the church, they all, and even prior to the church when they had control, you had Pythagoras who came out kind of like you is coming out, he's a mathematician. What does he know about, the stars and astrology? Then 150 years later, he's already dead. He was revered as a loony for saying that the Earth was round, right? Then you had Aristotle. He came out and he basically also did, the lunar eclipse. That's where, hence I brought that up. And he also died he died being known as a crazy loony for coming out believing that the Earth was round. Then 17, it was.
Well, let's show the picture of all the Masons.
Until, who brought up a good point.
Right on script. Dave loves it when people do this sort of stuff.
Which the only people that believed that the Earth was round were peasant sailors, right? There's a lot of documentation that they said, the Earth is round. And you had a guy named, and I hope I don't massacre this, but Eratosthenes.
Eratosthenes.
Yeah, and I'm sure you know about that. Then it wasn't until 1,700 years later.
It's funny that Dave corrects him on how to say it, but Dave had to be corrected himself by Professor Dave after saying it wrong for years. And now he's like the expert on how to say that.
Or, 1,700 years in 1492. that the Catholic Church finally decided, what, we need to look into this, because they were the establishment, right?
So wait a minute. So are you using Eratosthenes as that he proved that the Earth
he hopes he is
a globe?
I've not seen up to this point, but I guarantee you that I know what he's going to do. He's going to talk about how you can measure 2 points with sticks and shadows on a flat Earth too, but he's not going to mention that you can't do it with 3.
Yes, by the cast of shadows.
Can you explain the Eratosthenes experiment?
He
did. If you need help, go ahead.
I'm for no longer, I'm not a professional, but I will say that my understanding is that he put a pillar north of another pillar. I don't know the exact distance, but he basically used mathematics to see that in one spot there was a shadow, and in another spot there was and the south pole, the south pillar didn't have a shadow, but the north pillar had a big long shadow. Okay. And he just basically came up with the.
So let me tell you the
circumference of the Earth.
The full Eratosthenes story. I'll keep it short. First, on one day, he noticed that the sun was shining at the bottom of a well, which means that the sun was directly above the well.
Correct. Yep.
That's good. So then he said, "Hey, I've got an idea. We can figure out the size of the Earth if I put a stick in the ground and it has no shadow, and then somebody's farther over the ball and they put a stick in the ground and there's a shadow at the same time. We can do some good math, and that is absolutely true. So what he did is he got his friend to walk 500 miles and count his steps. So that way he knew he was 500 miles. So he counted how far 500. So when he got there, somehow he knew exactly at what time to do the stick measurement at Antarctica. Somehow they must have had a string and a cup and they were able to talk to each other or something. Because
Dave doesn't mention that it doesn't matter whether he believes that this happened or not when we're told it happened. People still do this all the time with multiple sticks all the time. He's just going to say, yeah, they did. He acts like they did this once. We can't verify how far they far away, and it works on a flat Earth.
First, that's an impossible thing. Counting
well, not necessarily.
It's done all the time.
How would they know when to do the measurement? How would they know what time?
Yeah, for example, hey, walk 500 miles.
Let's say he's a great counter and he does it. How would he know when to start the experiment?
They figured out, okay, it's going to take you a week to get there, right? Okay. And in a week, let's say Tuesday at 7 a.m.
How do you know what time 7 a.m. is?
Well, at that time, they had
how does he know what time? Well, sundial, but
it gets done all the time.
But he's walking around the Earth. It's
that's true.
It's going to be different, right?
I see, but
So hang on, let me just, I'm going to get past all that. So getting past those impossibilities, let's just say they're really good time.
Let's get past all the possibilities. Whether you believe it or not, it doesn't matter whether you believe that he did it. It's done all the time. People do it all the time now.
Like the weather's going to cooperate. Yeah. So I'm going to show you right here. So here's Eratosthenes and Saeed, and the sun's directly above his stick, and there's no shadow.
Correct.
He walks 500 miles. He's got a stick, and it casts a shadow, and he can measure the shadow's length. You can do some really good calculus and figure out the sphericity of that sphere, right?
Correct.
Now, did you know that in Eratosthenes' time, they were geocentric? They thought that the Earth was at the center and the sun went around the Earth. Yep. But how can a distant... So you'd have to believe that the sun is infinitely far to have straight rays. No one has ever seen straight rays coming in. Here, for example, this is called crepuscular rays. Now...
He's not going to do that, is he? He's not going to pretend that the sun is in that cloud, is he? He is, I think. How many times has this been debunked when you get the rays and then there are pictures taken from a different point of view, and they are straight. They appear to be converging from the observer. I can't believe he's doing this. He's been debunked on this so many times, and he's still going to do it.
Common sense to say that the light is close, right? No one has ever seen straight rays come in,
other than all the time.
But Eratosthenes is like, well, the sun's so far away, the rays are straight. Even though no one's ever saw it, we're gonna let that slide. We're gonna go back to here. On a flat Earth.
Yeah, again, even if Dave is correct, he's not. But even if he's correct on this, and they believed it was geocentric or whatever, it's been done all the time. It's done all the time. People do this all the time now, and we know. We know that we're not geocentric.
With a small local sun, just as it appears. Here's Eratosthenes. He's got no shadow. Here's his buddy 500 miles away. He's got the exact same length shadow as this guy has. You can do the same math and figure out the sphericity of this flat plane. You can go out and do this yourself today, right? You can do it with a couple beer bottles. Get a beer.
Oh, it's funny that you can go out and do it yourself today, but he's pretending it's only been done once by some bloke forever ago.
Beer bottle, hold a light over one of them. This one has a shadow. This one doesn't. Do the same math and figure out the sphericity of that flat floor.
Then add a third one.
And you'll come up with a spherical number. Math is not reality. It's the data that you put in, and it's your belief, right? We've got crepuscular rays showing that the sun is close. We've got them believing in a geocentric Earth, which is impossible with an infinitely far sun. We have something that works perfectly on a flat Earth, and globers are claiming that it proves the globe. This is fallacious.
Okay. Good point. Very good point.
Yeah. The question.
Good point. But mind you, I can't be too harsh on them because it's a lot. It's a lot to take in.
What I have for you, Dave, is can you explain to me the heliocentric theory? Because I was looking at videos and it didn't make sense to me that the sun is moving X amount of miles per hour and we rotating.
Yeah.
I was like, in that sense, we were going to be seeing different galaxies. We should have been in the same planet. We should have been clashing with somebody else.
So this is what we're taught, that we're circling the sun at 66,000 miles an hour while spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. We're chasing the sun. The heliocentric model says we're chasing the sun at 500,000,000 miles per hour. And so are all the other planets. For some reason, they stay on the same flat plane chasing the sun. But as the sun's going around, all the planets are staying even, keeping up with the sun as it's flying through the universe. And all of the planets are doing their spiral patterns. That is insanity. That's insane.
It looks nothing like that, by the way. Relative speed, people.
Right? That's insane. And the sun is made of 99% helium and hydrogen, which defy gravity on Earth, but it has enough gravity to hold on to all of the planets, and everything works like a perfect clock. If you don't know anything about the three-body problem, you can't model three gravitational bodies. It goes into chaos mode.
Yeah, anybody that wants to hear Dave's expertise on the three-body problem, again, I'll direct you to his debate with Professor Dave when he got absolutely annihilated and to the point that he couldn't even speak anymore.
You can't figure it out. But for some reason, this works like a perfect clock. It hasn't changed in all of history. The Antikythera mechanism that was discovered off of Greece over 2,000 years old is a perfect working model of our solar system, and it hasn't changed. It's accurate to a fraction of a second today. So this is the helio-nonsensical insanity model that they're taught in school versus this defies natural law, right? Just to help you out with those speeds, right? Well, first, they took our flat Earth. That map was in every school, it's like,
oh, that's your map, is it? And it's funny that most of the flat earthers have ran from that map now, but Dave has to stick by that map because it's his app and he can't redo the entire app. So he has to have that map. So he has to deny what happens in Antarctica, which has now been proven, documented and videoed for 24 hours on YouTube of the 24-hour sun in December in the South Pole. Dave just ignores that and pretends it didn't happen. After being offered the trip to witness it himself, he turned it down because everyone was a demon. And he's still pretending that that's the map and that they've wrapped that, he's going to say, because I've seen him a million times saying the exact same shit, that they've wrapped that around a ball.
Until the 1950s. They took it out, wrapped it around a ball, and they said, this is where you live, and you can't go independently explore this white area.
Well, that's been debunked as well.
You're not allowed to go here. Right?
You're not allowed to go there, even though he just got offered a trip 6 months ago to go there and turned it down. And people that he knows and works with did go.
That's a prison. That's a prison for your mind.
Well,
that's a prison, but stick a big glass dome over a flat thing. That's not a prison.
It's not a ban for people to go there. It's a ban if you want to conduct experiments.
No, there's a ban of free and independent exploration. Okay, no one is allowed to freely go there and explore, and the reasons behind it are insane.
Yes, they are. Debunked again.
But then who's there to regulate that?
Oh, there's military bases all over the place. We're coming out with a video in a couple days that's going to blow open Antarctica and what's going on there. There's mining
No, you're not.
operations there. They're like, you can't drop a cigarette butt there because it's the only pristine place on Earth. They're mining gold and silver and platinum and all sorts of metals there. They're digging holes and dumping garbage in it. It is a complete and total shit show down there. This is NASA's hypersonic sled track, right?
God, he showed me this as well. He tries to relate this train going super fast, or whatever that is, with the Earth's speed, like they are somehow the same thing.
If you look up hypersonic sled track on YouTube, you'll hear it with sound. I don't have sound on this. It goes by a Mach 8.6. Watch again. Mach 8.6. You can't fathom that speed, right? So did you know that we're orbiting the sun at 10 times the speed? We're on a lumpy rock, surrounded by water, surrounded by high-pressure air, adjacent to a void of a vacuum of space of no pressure, which breaks all laws of physics.
No, it doesn't, because there's a pressure gradient. You know this, Dave, but you ignore it anyway.
And we're going 10 times faster than this in a curved motion, not a straight line, around the sun. And we're chasing the sun 100 times faster. Your brain is incapable of processing what twice that speed is. But when we go out into nature, oops, where did my transition go? When we go out into nature, we see stuff like this.
Oh, God. I can't anymore. He's going to do that. It's got the same pictures this used years and for the last 10 years. Look, this water should be swooshing around all over the place because of the speeds we go. Even though it's constant speed, constant velocity, you only feel acceleration. I don't. Anybody watching this probably knows all this, unless you're a flat Earth dickhead, and then you just believe what he's saying, ignoring the fact that you can go 500 miles an hour in a plane and not be thrown back into your seat for the entire journey. The movements that he's talking about, the sharp turns that he goes on about all the time, that would make the water swoosh around, are like so minute that you would not feel them, and they take such a long time to happen that you just would not notice them at all. Thinking that you would makes you a fucking idiot, as far as I'm concerned. That's about as far as I'm going to go today with that. Cheers, everybody. I might do a part 2 on this, but it's... I probably will, actually, because I kind of feel sorry for the podcasters because I know how they feel. You know it's bollocks, but you kind of haven't done enough work on it to be able to refute the points. And he's just the thing that really bothers me, probably, because I'm not somebody that's like super into NASA and super into space, and I'm definitely not governments tell the truth all the time type person or anything like that. What bothers me is I've seen people be dragged into these rabbit holes like this, and it drives them insane. It drives them insane, and it's not good. And people like this are making money from people like that. That they lose all of their friends, all of their life, because they start believing stuff like this. And I'm not saying that all conspiracies are nonsense. Some of them have got maybes around them. But this one is like the bottom of the barrel, and it is a gateway to everything. And if you think that they are lying about where we live, then you don't believe them about anything. You start to believe all sorts of nonsense, and you end up sitting there doom scrolling on your phone all day, getting more and more paranoid about the whole world's against you and everybody's lying to you, and it doesn't lead anywhere good, and it affects people mentally so badly, and I absolutely hate it. I hate radicalization in any form. I'm not left, I'm not right. I hate people that just defend their position despite everything, and I hate the way that people like this for profit lead people down this conspiratorial thinking, and fuck with their minds and ruin their lives. It really does bother me. Anyway, cheers for watching. See you later.